here. Yes. What do you think, Nova? It's like Christmas. So this is the mushroom, the shroom room, the shroom shrine, the shroom bloomer, whatever you want to call it. It is a prototype mushroom fruiting chamber designed by a group called FirstBuild. So I saw this on YouTube that they were working on a prototype design for people to grow mushrooms on a small scale at home. And it's a mini automated fruiting chamber that's able to control humidity, that's able to bring in fresh air, and just a really cool way that people can grow mushrooms on a small scale at home. But it's a prototype design. So FirstBuild, we're looking for someone who could help them kind of play around with it, try to grow some different mushrooms, play around with a bunch of different settings. So I reached out to them, we connected, and luckily they chose us to work on it with them. So I'm super excited about this. Obviously, I'm super passionate about growing mushrooms at home and teaching other people to do the same. And this kind of gear, or this type of equipment, would be super amazing for people to use because it's just a fruiting chamber that you can put on your counter or put on a table somewhere, and it provides these optimal conditions, hopefully, to grow mushrooms on a small scale at home. So I can't wait to open this up, check out some of the settings, and obviously soon, hopefully, grow tons and tons of mushrooms out of this fruiting chamber. So let's open it up and see what it's like. Good job with the box. Ooh. Time to grow some shrooms. Very cool. This thing came packaged really, really nicely. Man, even though it's a prototype, it's looking pretty neat. Time to grow some shrooms. I guess I'm gonna have to dig into this and see how this thing actually works. So I've got this set up on a table in my office, and let's check out some of the features. First of all, it's got this door that opens really nicely, so we'll just open that right up. And you can see on the door there's a seal, which would form just kind of a nice seal and help keep it nice and humid in there. We have a little platform to put our fruiting blocks or trays on, and if we take that out, you can see the humidification system. So there's a little pan here with this filter, and this filter is specially made to be kind of antimicrobial, so you don't have to worry about getting a bunch of microbes in here. And so you're supposed to put water inside of here, and then this kind of wicks the humidity up, and then this fan will blow into here and bring some humidity and humidify the chamber. So we'll see how that works. This is another filter, and this is something that filters fresh air that comes in. So behind this filter, there's a couple of fans, and it brings in fresh air into the fruiting chamber, which is really important because obviously you need fresh air and humidity. And then right in the top of the chamber, there's a couple of LED lights right there and right there. And again, a lot of people think that lights aren't very important for growing mushrooms, but depending on the species, most mushrooms actually do need a fair amount of light to grow properly. So we have the light, we have the fresh air, and we have the humidity. And those are three key elements to growing mushrooms. Now, if we look at the back of the chamber here, you can see all sorts of different controls back there. I don't know if you can see, but there's a couple fans as well. But inside of the chamber, this is a little controller that will monitor the level of CO2, I'm guessing, and also monitor the level of humidity and be able to operate this fan and monitor the humidity and fresh air level and hopefully keep it nice and stable. So far this thing looks really, really cool. Now I don't know if you just plug it in and turn it on, what conditions it kind of goes for right away, if it's preset at a certain level of humidity or not, but I guess we'll plug it in and see how it goes. But the other thing I thought right away when I opened it up is it does have that nice little tray for water to increase the humidity, but it doesn't seem like it has a drip tray. So if a lot of water builds up inside of the chamber, which is something you'll see in a lot of fruiting chambers, and the water drips down onto the tray, where is it gonna go? So I guess that would be my one concern, is what happens to the excess water. Maybe that's gonna be a problem, maybe it's not gonna be a problem, who knows? And the other thing is the filter that brings in fresh air. Again, fresh air is super important, but if it's bringing in fresh air and the rest of the chamber is sealed and the fan's just blowing air in, where's it gonna go? So I'm wondering if it'll like just squeeze out the side of this thing, or if it's not seal tight if it will just leak out throughout the chamber. But it does have an intake, but it doesn't seem to have an exhaust. And I think too, no matter what happens or how this works, I can definitely sympathize with the fact that it is a prototype. I don't know if you know this or not, but I did take mechanical engineering in university, technically was a mechanical engineer for a little while. So I get how hard it is to build stuff like this and how many different things you have to think about when you're trying to make something that will just work. It's a very multi-step process, which is why I'm super excited to be involved in the prototyping version of this because it looks really cool and has super high potential to be a really, really, really neat tool for home mushroom growers. Okay, so first I'm gonna plug it in. I'm gonna go ahead and add the 1 cup of water. Place the tray. We'll see what happens. I don't know if this fan's supposed to turn on automatically or if it takes a while to get revved up or if it's waiting for the sensor to say something. Oh, there it goes. Moving parts. Don't stick your finger or anything else in there. Cool, well, I'm just gonna let that run for a little bit and see what it does. I know this thing probably controls the humidity and probably reports it through the cable when I actually get it hooked up to the internet or get it hooked up to my computer, but in the meantime, I have this crappy little hygrometer, so I'm just gonna stick that in there. I just pulled it out of the garage, so it's saying 79. I don't think that's accurate, but we'll just use that to kind of monitor it and see if it starts to make sense. But yeah, I guess maybe it is already increasing the humidity. I don't know. It's working pretty hard. It's been in here for just a couple minutes, and that fan's still whirring around. And this is reporting that the humidity is going up. I always find these things are funny because it says wet with a frowny face, but that is what you want. So I just realized in order to actually be able to connect this thing to the internet and be able to control things like lighting and humidity, I actually have to connect it with an Ethernet cable to a router, which is then connected to the internet, and then we can control those things through the software. So I've actually moved this thing down to the basement. I have a router right here, so it made it super easy. But actually, I think that's gonna work out pretty well, because number one, there's not a lot of ambient light down here, so we'll be able to rely on just the lighting from the fruiting chamber. And again, mushrooms, a lot of people think they don't need light, but gourmet and medicinal mushrooms do actually need a fair amount of light to grow properly, along with fresh air and along with humidity. And we'll be able to control all of those things through this software, hopefully. So let's jump into the software and see how it works. Okay, so this is the back-end mushroomer. So this is just a little dashboard, and to be honest, I'm probably gonna really have to dig in over the next little while and see exactly how that works. But basically, it's got shows your temperature, right, in Fahrenheit. Gotta get that in Celsius. It's got the humidity, which is showing 94.1 because this thing's been spinning around for a little while, so that's really nice. And it also tracks it, so you can kind of see the humidity, how it tracks. And then I opened the door at one point and we lost a lot of humidity. It went down to kind of ambient. And then as I closed the door, it kind of came right back up, and now we're sitting at about 94%. So for mushrooms, anywhere between like 85 to 95 to 100% is really, really good. And then it's also measuring the temperature. So I don't know why I have such huge swings in temperature, but maybe that has to do with the humidity as well. I don't know, we'll keep an eye on that. But also, really cool thing is you can control the humidity. So let's just open this up and I'll show you exactly kind of how it's working with the camera. So in there you can see the fan, and I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that off. And you can see it turns off, and we can actually set this to be automated so that it will turn on and off when we want it. And also there's this fresh air exchange here as well, so I can turn that on and off. And also I can turn on the lights. So let's go ahead and turn on the lights. Boom. So those can also be set on a timer or a schedule, I believe. Really cool. It feels humid in there. I'm just gonna go ahead again and close this door. And soon we'll put some mushrooms in there. So it all seems pretty straightforward. Even though this is a prototype, I'm pretty excited to dive in and see how it actually works with growing mushrooms. So I'm not gonna grow any mushrooms in this video, but over the next few weeks or so, I'm gonna be growing lots of different mushrooms. I got some chestnut mushrooms going, and we get some oyster mushrooms in there. And if you have any ideas, if you want to see me try to grow anything in here, except those mushrooms, if you wanna see me grow any gourmet medicinal mushrooms in here, let me know, and maybe I'll do it and we can try it to see how it works, and I can put it on the channel. So thanks so much for watching. Again, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to see what you think of this thing, and love to see what you think I should try and grow in here. So if you like mushrooms, if you want to see more of this, be sure to subscribe, and be sure to hit that like button to help this channel mushroom. So thanks so much for watching. I'm Tony from FreshCap.com, and we'll see you in the next video.